Hi there, it's Dom. I'm in a great mood. I've been feeling really a little bit subpar the last few days and tried to make a couple of videos and just deleted them because I thought just look miserable, sound miserable, but I feel a lot better today. I came home from my walk, got a letter. My wife handed it to me, and one look at the envelope. When you've had MS as long as I have, 27 years, and you've been at the same hospital for most of that, you know immediately when it's a letter from the hospital, and it was. So I pinged it open. And it was about the reporting on my recent MRI. I've managed to get MRIs annually, and I just wanted to read you a couple lines because this is just the epitome of doctors not connecting with how the hell it feels to be a patient and wonder about stuff. So it's your MRI brain scan, blah blah blah. In a meeting with the expert neuroradiologist, Dr. blah blah blah, and your professor, there are changes consistent with your known diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. And then it should say, but I'm not going to tell you what they are, because it doesn't. It says, there has been no change in the lesion burden, which is good, but then, you know, with a 3T scanner, you think they can see it better with higher resolution scanners, or the T is for Tesla. It's the electronic thing, not the cars, but it's essentially how strong the magnets are. But it's just, I read it out, I looked at it, read it to my wife and said, what does this mean to you? And she went, well, it means they can see something, but they're not telling you, which is just the epitome of frustration. This doctor is a research fellow to the professor who is my neurologist. Frankly, both of them are what I would call academic doctors. To be a doctor, you've got to be really clever, number one. You've got to really be able to work hard, number two. You know, I know the people at school that went on to be doctors. That wasn't me because I was too bone idle. But you study super hard. You remember tons of things. You have exams, you know, the skeleton, head to toe, blah, blah, blah. You study, you study, you study. You have many, many years in med school. It's really bloody hard work. I'm not going to take that away from any doctor. If you come out the other end, you've worked very, very hard. But many have been scarred in the process. And when I say scarred, I mean you study all this stuff. You have to remember so many things. The patient, me, you, the flesh and blood, this sack of flesh that's got whatever's wrong with us, the medical thing, we're often secondary. You know, it's fixing it. You know, my MS is pretty boring, frankly, to doctors. I've had it 27 years. There's not much activity on my, or none on my MRI apparently. So it's sort of there, off you go. See you next year. You know, there is no engagement from the doctor. Even if I did have really symptomatic MS, like I know a lot of you do, unless the doctor has it and has those symptoms themselves, they can't tell. But writing things in a letter, you know, you get these limited communications, and then it's just like, what the bloody hell's going on? You know, it really feels like I know something, but I'm not telling you. So I'm very fortunate. I've got a superb MS nurse, and I rang him up, and we know one another quite well. He's been my nurse for ages. And but I said, what the hell does this mean? And he went, He said, you're not the first patient to wonder. He said, I have raised it with them a couple times. Doesn't seem to sink in. Because what actually happens is the doc will have a ton of MRI reports and things, and they've got admin, like most of us have got admin in our life, whether it's doing your bills or whatever. But they go through and they just dictate the letters, you know, blah, 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 and they use a sort of almost a verbal shorthand. And the medical secretaries who type them up also know the game as well. You can't just be a medical secretary tomorrow. There's a lot of learning. So the doctor tells them, and there's just various phrases used. And this, my new favorite one, changes consistent with your known diagnosis. It's like, yeah, what the hell? Actually, it's something quite simple. It means that when they look at my MRI, they can see why I have MS. You know, so they're consistent with my known diagnosis of MS. They know me to have MS. Those changes are consistent with it. Fine. Makes sense now. Didn't make sense when you're reading it as a layman. If you're going to send the letter to the patient, I don't know why they do it, you know. Is it out of courtesy? You know, all the doctors I know speak the same shorthand because you have to. In any job, you have professional shorthands. You know, it's just the code. And this, I guess, is just that. But if you're going to share it with the patients, the end result, it would probably behoove you to do a better job and think about what it's like to be the patient opening and reading the letter. I think many companies never listen to their hold music, or they change it because it's pretty shocking. You know, 3 in the morning. We're experiencing really high call volumes. No, you're not. It's 3 in the morning. You know, it's just nobody goes outside the system and looks back in and goes, what's it like to be a customer? What's it like to be a patient? You know, if I have to come in and interface with that, I mean, I bet most CEOs of most large companies with call centers don't sit down and go, just going to call it up and see what it's like to be a customer. You know, but that's the simplest thing. You know, it's makes people stand out. You know, we all remember that teacher from school that was really good. We always remember that doctor that was really good. You know, and there's a difference between being sympathetic or empathetic. You know, unless you've got it and it's inside you, and it all feels different to all of us. I can tell you I'm fatigued, but my fatigue may not be the same as your fatigue. You know, I get spasticity in my left hamstring. It just makes me want to cut my bloody leg off sometimes. I stretch, my wife helps roll. There's always a knotted muscle, which is bloody painful. But, you know, you get through it. But trying to explain to somebody what it's like to be driving somewhere more than 30 minutes, you want to stop the car, not for a pee, though as you get on, that's not a bad thing to do. But you're at the side of the road or in some lay-by or something, and you're stretching your hamstring, going, ooh, oh. You know, people are looking at you. I mean, I don't care anymore, but it's just hard to explain when you sit there like this. You know, well, doctor, my hamstring really cramps up. And they go, oh, it's bad. Back to the letter. You know, it's just the communications with patients. It's your one contact point sometimes. You know, please, doctors, please, hospitals, whatever, whoever you are, do it better. Put yourself in the customers or the patient's shoes. You know, call up your own call center. Read your own letters through the eyes of somebody who doesn't know medicine. You know, it would make a big difference. It's just the little things sometimes. Anyway, rant over. Had a really good day. I'm feeling good, which is why I made the video. And it's got to be, what is it, 6:45 at night. It's pretty amazing for me. I'm normally pretty wiped out. My brain does not do much work voluntarily after about 6 o'clock. Anyway, have a lovely evening. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.